Meadow farm was a blaze of gold, caressed by the autumn sun. As Nellie herded the cattle home, counted them one by one. Brindle and Bessie, Jenny and Boss, placid, contented, and warm. But none were more placid or warmly content than Nellie of Meadow Farm. But what's that bell on the road hard by, and what is that glint of steel? It's a dashing gent in a checkered suit, riding on a safety wheel. A handsome gent with a black mustache, with blueprints under his arm. An architect as I live and breathe, cried Nellie of Meadow Farm. With the hi, Nellie, and a ho, Nellie, and a hey, Nellie, and a hey, hey, hey. Hi, Nellie, and a ho, Nellie, and a hey, Nellie, and a hey. The stranger halted and doffed his cap, pleaded to quench his thirst. How could innocent Nellie know that this villain would be her first? What a charming smile as he made his thanks, how innocent of harm. And thus came sin on a safety bike to Nellie of Meadow Farm. Little she knew that his heart was black, that his hot breath reeked of gin. But what was this tumult in her breast as she shyly asked him in? An architect cried, "Pa, I swung, how easy to disarm." And the dastard dined at the humble board of Nellie of Meadow Farm. With the hi, Nellie, and a ho, Nellie, and a hey, Nellie, and a hey, hey, hey. Hi, Nellie, and a ho, Nellie, and a hey, Nellie, and a hey. The night was sweet with the scent of hay, and the sky was decked with stars, as the villain fled on his safety bike, with Nellie on the handlebars. Lured away by his vows of love, seduced by his wicked charm, off to the cruel metropolis sped Nellie of Meadow Farm. A year rolled by, and the sun once more touched the farm with a glint of gold. And Pa was herding the cattle in, wrinkled and bowed and old, when hark who rides on the road hard by with an infant 'neath her arm. Weaving along on her battered bike, it was Nellie of Meadow Farm. With the hi, Nellie, and a ho, Nellie, and a hey, Nellie, and a hey, hey, hey. Hi, Nellie, and a ho, Nellie, and a hey, Nellie, and a hey. Nell was home, but forever gone was the gentle country maid. Betrayed by a devil in angel's garb, betrayed and then re-betrayed. So ladies, beware of an architect with blueprints under his arm, unless you hanker to be betrayed like Nellie of Meadow Farm. Pietro Masimi, he built a palazzo with cornices very ornate. He decked it with pilasters, caps, and rosettos, and egg-and-dart spheroids oblate. And when it was finished, he threw out his chest, shouted aloud to all Rome, "I hereby defy any Medici guy to show me a classier home." Pietro Masimi, he filled his palazzo with tapestries mellow and rare, and many a chest with his family crest, and many a rich carven chair. And when it was ready, he said to his wife, "Send out the RSVPs. Invite only those who have evening clothes and well-rooted family trees." Pietro's housewarming was quite a success, and Rome became all of a twitter. The Pitti, the Pazzi, Riccardi, and Strozzi attended by coach and by litter. The Medici, d'Este, and Borgia came, not to mention the proud Pandolfini. and the swell Davanzati, a trifle high-hatty, and of course Benvenuto Cellini. Leonardo and Raphael came in their smocks to try out their genius at drinking. Not to mention Bramante, who came with his auntie and heartily joined in the swinking. The party was lively, the party was gay, it wasn't the least bit depressing. Palladio's nose turned from red to old rose, and the Pope gave pontifical blessing. Pietro's palazzo was filled to the roof, and his guests seemed quite peaceful and loving. Till one of the Strozzi pushed one of the Pazzi, who said, "Who you think you are shoving?" "Go on," said the Strozzi, "I push in your face," and the Medici shouted, "Is that so?" "Push 'em up," yelled the Desti, who felt rather chesty, and they pushed out Pietro's palazzo. And so, my dear friends, in the city of Rome, on the Via di San Pantaleo, a curving facade which the critics applaud may indeed still be seen to this day. Oh, the Palazzo Massimi with curving facade, but it wasn't Peruzzi's intent. For you know and I know, and so did Pietro, just when, where, and how it was bent. Lorenzo Il Magnifico, he was the Duke of Florence. He dearly loved his hidey-ho, for ho-hum had abhorrence, 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 for ho-hum had abhorrence. And so, to be specifico, he really was terrifico, that hyperglandular so-and-so Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Lorenzo Il Magnifico, Il Duce de Farenza. He loved to do the heel and toe to a dissolute cadenza, 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 to a dissolute cadenza. A cinquecento samba to the viola da gamba, and a dissolute lute and a piccolo dance Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Lorenzo Il Magnifico was very fond of culture. To men like Michelangelo, he was a culture vulture, a vulture, a vulture. He was a culture vulture. He strove with mighty relisho Firenze to embellisho that fabulous impresario Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Lorenzo Il Magnifico was quite a politician. The Palazzo del Consiglio looked on him with suspicion. Suspicion, suspicion, looked on him with suspicion. They say he rented slot machines to both the Guelphs and Ghibellines, that rackety Medici so-and-so Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Lorenzo trod so proudly the Piazza del Signori, on Sundays past the plate at Sant Maria del Fiori. Fiori, Fiori, Maria del Fiori, with unction sanctimonious, he really was felonious, that hypocritical so-and-so Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Lorenzo Il Magnifico was on his deathbed lying. He cried Savonarola, oh, I know that I am dying, am dying, am dying, I know that I am dying. The monk said, son, confessio. Lorenzo said, oh, bless you, no, I'll soon be running things down below. Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Spring is a wonderful season. It's quite the best time of the year. I see no particular reason why we shouldn't all shout, spring is here. Spring is here, spring is here, spring is here. Have I made myself perfectly clear? It's spring on the campus, it's spring. It's spring in the hearts of the students of arts. Even engineers know that it's spring. It's spring on the campus, it's spring. Our ancient professors are now the possessors of springtime, that wonderful thing. It's spring in the dorms and the frats. It's spring for the dogs and the cats. It's spring in the beanery, spring in the scenery. See all that greenery, spring. Spring's the right time for the springtime. It's never quite right in the fall. It's quite out of place in the summer. In the winter it won't do at all. But it's spring and it's time for the spring. May I say that the bird's on the wing. It's spring on the campus, it's spring. The Margaret Morrison girls are all chorusing. Spring is the time for a fling. It's spring on the campus, it's spring. Our dear registrar sings tra-la, tra-la-la, and he sings it with plenty of swing. It's spring for the Board of Trustees. They've changed to their light BVDs. The birdies sing tweet by the President's suite. And again I repeat that it's spring. Sap starts to rise in the springtime, and love starts to burgeon and bloom. That hearts change their tempo to swing time. I feel we may safely assume, be it all more toujours in the spring. Who knows what the summer may bring? It's spring on the campus, it's spring. Shall we hark to the lark who enthralls Shenley Park with his trills, which are darn hard to sing? It's spring on the campus, it's spring. Who is that fawn dancing light on the lawn with that dryad around in a ring? It's our dear deans of women and men. They think they are 20 again. It's best in a way that the term ends in May, for there's too much hay in the spring. There's a man in town you soon will hear about. He'll soon be all the rage, without a doubt. I'm gonna let you in the know. He's a garden gigolo, a man the ladies just can't do without. At a nightclub or a beach club he's a lout, but a garden's where he knows his way about. When he gets amongst the plants, he's the slickest thing in pants, and soon you'll hear those garden mamas shout. He's Hyacinth Harry, old Hyacinth Harry. We got to have Harry, the garden gigolo. You've heard about Mary, who was so contrary. It was Harry made her garden grow. He'll trim your hedge, he'll mow your lawn. How that Harry carries on. He's a bear amongst the shrubs, heaven's gift to the garden clubs. He's Harry, old Hyacinth Harry. And he's got those garden mamas on the go. Just nuts about Harry with his hitty, hidey-hody-ho. When I was a young Nouveau, dans l'école des beaux-arts, life was a sweet ghetto, champagne and caviar. We worked at the atelier, close by our patron's knee, spent many a happy day with l'architecture de Paris. We'd pocher, 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 and we'd sing the Pompier. We'd charrette, 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 and we'd sing the Valouette. And then I fell all in love with three Gizelle and sweet Jean Marie and Paris, we'd stroll along the Seine, Gizelle Marie and me, see Our Lady Notre Dame, the glory of Paris. We'd watch at end of day from the Café de Meadow, lovely Saint-Germain-des-Prés in the rosy afterglow. With the years two loves have gone, Gizelle and Jean Marie, but I sing my chanson of my beloved Paris. Now I'm an old ancien, far from my patron's need, plagued by affairs of men, but it all comes back to me. I poche, 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 and I sing le pompier. I charrette, 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 alouette, and I am still all in love, still all in love with three, Gizelle and sweet Jean Marie and l'architecture de Paris. When that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? When that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? When that chariot swings down low, will that architect get to go? When that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? When that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? Will that checking up angel throw him for a loss? When that checking up angel sees that he's been cutting his fees, when that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? Will that architect get to climb that golden stair? Will he get to see old St. Peter standing there? When he says that he's AIA, will St. Peter say, you don't say? When that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? Will that architect walk right through those pearly gates, where that ultimate plan examiner cogitates? Says this reprehensible man's been dishing out old stock plans. When that architect comes to Jordan, will he cross? Will that architect sit there by the Lord's right hand, with a license to practice in the promised land? They'll be checking up jobs he stole, that damned unethical soul. When that architect comes to Jordan, he will cross. When that architect comes to Jordan, he will cross. No, no, when that architect comes to Jordan, he will cross. When they're up there calling the roll, he'll be down there shoveling coal. When that architect comes to Jordan, he will cross.